The late winter afternoon turned the depot platform to gray slush beneath Anna Cartwright's worn boots. She stepped off the westbound train with both babies bundled against her chest, their combined weight making her shoulders ache. Her carpet bag landed with a dull thud beside her feet. She scanned the small crowd for Samuel Pritchard, the merchant who'd sent for a mail-order bride. A portly man in a fine coat approached, his smile fading as his eyes dropped to the infants. Anna's stomach tightened. "Mrs. Cartwright!" His voice carried the chill of the February wind. "I'm Samuel Pritchard. Mr. Pritchard." Anna shifted little Emma higher on her chest. "Thank you for meeting me." The journey was, "You have children." Not a question. An accusation. "I wrote about my husband's death." I thought, "You thought wrong." Pritchard's face hardened like creek ice. "I ordered a wife. Not a ready-made family." The words struck like a physical blow. Anna felt the platform sway beneath her feet. Behind Pritchard, townspeople had stopped their business to watch. A woman whispered to her companion. The station master suddenly found great interest in his pocket watch. "Mr. Pritchard, please, I have nowhere." "That's no concern of mine." He turned on his heel, coat swirling. "Good day, madam." Anna stood frozen as his footsteps crunched away through the slush. The twins stirred against her. Small whimpers building toward cries. Her breath misted in the cold air. The depot's waiting room glowed with lamplight. But the door remained closed. No one approached. No one offered help. She'd traveled 1,000 miles to this moment. Thomas had been dead 3 weeks when she'd boarded that first train in Missouri. She for Chimonen all. The tickets were already purchased, the arrangement already made. She told herself the West meant possibility. Instead, she found only another kind of emptiness. Dr. James Harrison set his medical bag on the platform bench and watched the scene unfold. He'd come for a shipment of surgical instruments, but the human drama before him demanded attention. The woman stood with remarkable dignity despite her humiliation. She didn't weep or beg. She simply held her babies closer, as if her arms alone could shield them from the world's cruelty. Something in that gesture twisted in James's chest. Sarah had held their daughter that way, in the brief moments before both had slipped away. 18 months had passed, but the memory remained knife-sharp. The woman's breath came in visible clouds. The baby's cries grew louder. The townspeople dispersed, embarrassed witnesses eager to escape. James picked up his medical bag and crossed the platform. His footsteps echoed in the sudden quiet. "Ma'am," he said gently, "I wonder if you'd permit me a word." Anna's head snapped up. Her eyes, red-rimmed but defiant, met his. She clutched the babies tighter. Protective instinct overriding exhaustion. "If you're here to tell me to move along," she said, voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. You'll have to wait until I can feel my feet again." "No, ma'am." James removed his hat. "I'm here to make you a proposition." Her laugh held no humor. "I've had enough propositions for one day." "Thank you. This one might be different." He gestured toward the depot's waiting room. "Could we speak inside out of the cold?" Anna studied his face. She saw grief there, etched in lines around his eyes, saw sincerity in the way he held his hat, saw no mockery, no cruelty, only careful consideration. "Inside," she agreed. "But if this is some kind of jest, it isn't." James picked up her carpet bag. "I promise you that." The depot's waiting room offered blessed warmth from a potbelly stove. "Inad desanoa." Anna sank onto a wooden bench, adjusting the babies in her arms. James set her bag beside her and took the opposite bench, maintaining respectful distance. I'm Dr. James Harrison." He began. Town physician, widowed 18 months ago. Anna's eyes sharpened with recognition. I'm sorry for your loss. And I for yours. He turned his hat in his hands. I heard you mention your husband's death to Pritchard. 3 weeks ago. Railroad accident. The words came mechanically, worn smooth by repetition. Thomas was earning extra money for our journey west. I told him to wait. But he insisted, said we needed the funds for a fresh start. James nodded slowly. My wife Sarah died in childbirth. Our daughter with her. I'm a physician who couldn't save his own family. He met Anna's gaze directly. So when I say I understand loss, Mrs. Cartwright, I mean it. Little Sarah, named for her late father's mother, began to fuss. Anna shifted her, rocking gently. Emma slept on, oblivious. Dr. Harrison, I appreciate your kindness, but I'm not sure what you're proposing. Marriage. The word hung in the warm air between them, but not the romantic kind. A partnership of mutual benefit. Anna's eyebrows rose. You're serious. Completely. James leaned forward, elbows on knees. My medical practice is in chaos. I forget appointments. Can't locate patient files. Let instruments go uncleaned. The town is patient, but that patience is wearing thin. I need someone with organizational skills and good sense. You need security for your children and a respectable position. So I'd be your housekeeper. My partner. James corrected. You'd manage the practice. Keep the household. Have a proper home. In return, your daughters would have a father's name, protection, and a future. No romance required. No false promises. Just honest partnership between two people who understand what it means to start over. Nana searched his face for deception and found none. She saw only bone-deep weariness and a desperate kind of hope. You're proposing to a woman you met 5 minutes ago. I'm proposing to someone who needs help. As I do. James's voice softened. Sarah used to say the best partnerships start with honest need, not pretty words. She was wise that way. Was she a doctor too? A rancher's daughter. Practical, kind. She'd have liked you, I think. Anna looked down at the twins. Emma's small hand had curled around the edge of Anna's shawl. Sarah made soft snuffling sounds in sleep. They deserve better than depot platforms and uncertain futures. If I accept, Anna said slowly, I want honesty between us. No pretense. No expectations beyond what we've agreed. You have my word. And these children are mine. I'll raise them as I see fit. Of course. James stood, replacing his hat, though I hope you'll allow me to care for them medically when needed. That seems fair. Anna rose, babies and all. When would this marriage take place? Circuit judge is in town until tomorrow morning. We could marry tonight, if you're willing. The speed of it made Anna's head spin, but speed meant no time for doubt. No time for Pritchard's gossip to spread. No time to realize she was trusting a stranger with everything she had left. Tonight. She agreed. But Dr. Harrison. Yes. If you're unkind to these children, I'll leave, partnership or not. Oh, James's expression softened with something like respect. Mrs. Cartwright, I'd expect nothing less. The judge married them in his office an hour later. The ceremony lasted 3 minutes. Emma and Sarah slept through their mother's quiet day. I do. Through the exchange of plain gold bands from the general store. Through the pronouncement that made Anna Cartwright into Anna Harrison. When they stepped into the February twilight, Anna carried a new name, an old fierce. James carried her carpet bag and walked in silence toward his house, toward whatever came next. The house stood solid and well built on Elm Street, attached to a separate medical office. James led Anna through the gate and up the porch steps, then hesitated with his hand on the door. "It's not been kept properly," he said. "Fair warning." The door swung open to reveal what Anna guessed had once been a comfortable home. Now dust filmed every surface. Dishes sat stacked by the dry sink. A man's coat hung on a chair back. Another draped over the sofa. Medical journals lay scattered across the dining table. "Oh," Anna breathed. "I told you." James set her bag down. "I've been managing poorly." That was an understatement. Anna moved through the main room, cataloging the neglect with a practiced eye. Cobwebs in corners, windows that hadn't been washed in months, a cold fireplace full of old ash. This wasn't the home of a busy physician. This was the dwelling of a man who'd stopped living. The twins began to stir. Hungry after the long journey, James cleared his throat. "Oh, the spare room is upstairs. Second door on the right. I cleared it out this afternoon. Put fresh linens on the bed. Found a dresser. Not much, but it's clean. Thank you." Anna paused at the stairs. "And your room?" "The study. Mostly down here." He gestured vaguely toward a closed door. "You'll have your privacy upstairs." The unspoken message rang clear separate lives under one roof. Anna nodded and climbed the stairs. Babies growing heavier with each step. The spare room was indeed clean. If sparse, a bed, a dresser, a small washstand. Someone had placed 2 wooden crates padded with blankets near the window makeshift cribs. The sight of them, so carefully prepared, made Anna's throat tight. She settled the twins in their crates after feeding them, then stood looking out at the darkening street. Lamplight glowed in neighboring houses. Smoke rose from chimneys. Normal lives carrying on while hers twisted in directions she couldn't have imagined this morning. A soft knock interrupted her thoughts. James stood in the doorway, not entering. "Ige, there's bread and cheese downstairs if you're hungry. Coffee, too. I should tidy the kitchen first." That's not necessary tonight." He shifted his weight. "You've traveled far. You should rest." What?" Anna turned from the window. "Dr. Harrison, if we're to be partners, I need you to understand something. I can't sit idle while work needs doing. It's not in my nature. Oh, nor mine. Which is why the house looks as it does." A ghost of a smile crossed his face. "But even partners need rest." Before Anna could respond, James's gaze drifted past her to a closed door at the end of the hall. His expression shuddered completely. "That room stays locked," he said, voice flat. "It was Sarah's. Our daughter's. I can't." The words died. Anna waited, but he didn't finish. "I understand," she said quietly. Though she didn't. Not really. James nodded once, then retreated downstairs. Anna heard his study door close with soft finality. She moved to her own door and eased it nearly shut, leaving it cracked to hear the twins. Then she sank onto the bed, still wearing her traveling dress, and stared at the ceiling. 2 strangers under one roof. 2 sets of ghosts between them. 2 people. who'd promised partnership, but had no idea what that meant. From downstairs came the sound of James pacing. From the cribs came the soft breathing of sleeping babies. Anna closed her eyes and wondered what Thomas would think of this strange new life. Wondered if Sarah's spirit lingered in that locked room. Watching, the house settled into uneasy quiet. Outside, February wind rattled the windows. Spring felt impossibly far away. 3 weeks transformed the medical office from disaster to respectability. Anna worked with systematic efficiency, creating order from chaos. Patient files now resided in alphabetical cabinets. Instruments gleamed in their proper trays. The appointment book became actually readable. Mrs. Harrison knows what she's about, old Mrs. Chen said, watching Anna update the file system. Doctor's lucky to have found you. Thank you. Mrs. Chen, Anna marked another folder and slid it into place. Dr. Harrison is a skilled physician. He simply needed organization. Needed a wife. Mrs. Chen corrected with a knowing smile. Town's been saying so for months. Anna kept her expression neutral. The town didn't need to know this marriage was pure practicality. Let them imagine romance if it helped acceptance. James emerged from the examination room, ushering out a patient. He caught Anna's eye and nodded toward the next file. She handed it to him smoothly. 3 weeks had taught them an efficient rhythm. Mr. Patterson, come on back. James called. The day proceeded in productive routine. Patients arrived, were treated, departed. Anna managed the flow, collected payments, scheduled follow-ups between appointments. She updated records and restocked supplies. In the attached living quarters, the twins had settled into their own routine. Emma proved the curious one, constantly reaching for new things. Sarah was quieter, more observant. Both had begun to recognize James, tracking his movements with wide eyes. That evening, after the last patient left, James lingered in the office doorway. Anna was tidying instruments, preparing for the next day. You've done remarkable work here, he said. It needed doing. Still, he picked up his medical bag. The practice has never run more smoothly. I'm grateful. We had an agreement. I'm fulfilling my part. James nodded slowly, then hesitated. The twins are, well, growing every day. Emma's nearly outgrown her clothes already. I could, if you need help with them. I manage fine. Thank you. The words came out sharper than Anna intended. James's face closed off again. That careful blankness he wore like armor. Of course. Good evening. Then, he retreated to his study. Anna heard the door close. The same soft finality as every night. She finished the tidying and climbed the stairs. That's son. The twins were awake, babbling to each other in their crates. Anna lifted Emma first, settling into the rocking chair James had moved into the room. As she fed Emma, she heard James moving below. His footsteps crossed from study to kitchen, then back, pacing, as he did every evening, unable to settle, unable to rest. Emma finished eating and Anna switched her for Sarah. Das bin my run so. The baby's small hand wrapped around Anna's finger, squeezing tight. Thomas had loved that gesture, called it the strongest grip in Missouri. Your papa would have loved watching you grow. Anna whispered. He'd have been so proud. From downstairs came a sudden clatter, like a book hitting the floor. Then silence. Then more pacing. Anna looked toward the locked door at the hall's end. Sarah's room. Untouched for 18 months. A shrine to loss. How long could a person live like that, she wondered. Frozen in grief. But who was she to judge? She still wore Thomas's wedding ring on a chain beneath her. Dress. Still woke some mornings forgetting he was gone. The twins fell asleep in her arms. Milk-drunk and peaceful. Anna placed them gently in their crates, then stood at the window watching the street. Lamplight glowed in the house across the way. She could see a family at their dinner table. Father and mother and 3 children. Heads bowed in prayer. A real family. Not this careful arrangement of wounded strangers. Anna turned from the window and caught her reflection in the washstand mirror. Istolita. She looked older than her 26 years. Tired. Uncertain. But the twins slept safely. The house was warm. There was food in the pantry and money in the household jar. She'd made worse bargains in her life. Downstairs, James's pacing finally stopped. His study door opened and closed one final time. The house settled into its nightly quiet. Anna changed into her nightdress and climbed into bed. Tomorrow would bring more patience, more work, more careful distance from the man who was her husband in name only. She closed her eyes and listened to her daughters breathe. It was enough. It had to be. The knock came at 2 a.m. Awards were signed for ring under bar. James bolted upright in his study, where he'd fallen asleep at his desk again. Someone pounded on the front door with desperate urgency. Dr. Harrison, doctor. Please. He grabbed his medical bag and yanked open the door. Harold Patterson stood wild-eyed on the porch. It's Margaret. The baby's coming wrong. She's been laboring since yesterday noon, and nothing's happening. Dr. Harrison, please. I think she's dying. Get my horse saddled. I'll be right there. James turned to find Anna on the stairs, already dressed, carrying her shawl. I'm coming with you, she said. Anna. It's the middle of... You might need an assistant. I've helped with births before. Get your things. There was no time to argue. They rode through the dark streets to the Patterson homestead 3 miles out. Inside, Margaret Patterson writhed on the bed, her face gray with exhaustion. James examined her quickly and his stomach dropped. Breech, he said quietly to Anna. Baby's positioned wrong. This will be difficult. Tell me what you need. The next 2 hours passed intense concentration. James worked carefully, coaching Margaret through contractions while trying to turn the baby. Anna followed his instructions, precisely holding instruments, wiping Margaret's face, supporting her shoulders. I can't, Margaret sobbed. I can't do this anymore. Yes, you can, Anna said firmly. Listen to my voice. Breathe when I breathe. You're strong enough for this. James met Anna's eyes over the laboring woman. She was calm, capable, exactly what he needed. He gave her a slight nod and returned to his work. Finally, after what felt like hours, the baby slipped free. A boy, small but wailing with strong lungs. James cleared his airway and handed him to Anna, who wrapped him expertly. You did it, Anna told Margaret, placing the baby on her chest. He's perfect. Margaret wept with relief. Harold burst into the room, saw his wife and son alive, and fell to his knees in prayer. James and Anna slipped outside to the well, washing blood from their hands in silence. Dawn was breaking over the prairie, painting the sky pink and gold. You were excellent in there, James said quietly. So were you. Anna dried her hands on her apron. I've never seen a breech delivery go so smoothly. I've seen them go worse. His voice cracked slightly. Much worse. Anna studied his face in the growing light. Understanding dawned. Sarah. Breech presentation. I couldn't turn her. Couldn't save either of them. James stared at his hands. I'm a physician who watched his own wife and child die in front of him. What kind of doctor does that make me? What kind of man? The kind who just saved 2 lives instead of freezing. Anna said, the kind who keeps trying despite grief. Thomas died because I pushed him to earn money for this journey. If I hadn't insisted on coming west. You can't know that. Neither can you. Anna's voice softened. We both carry guilt. James. But guilt doesn't honor the dead. Living well does. They stood in the quiet dawn, sharing the weight of unspoken grief. Harold came to the door, thanking them profusely, pressing payment into James's hands. The ride home passed in companionable silence. When they arrived, Anna went straight upstairs to check the twins. She found them awake, fussing in their crates. James appeared in the doorway, hesitant. Are they well? Just hungry. Anna lifted Emma, then paused. Would you... She held out Sarah. James froze, old fear warring with new courage. Then he stepped forward and took the baby. She felt impossibly small in his arms, warm, alive. Sarah looked up at him with Thomas's blue eyes and made a small cooing sound. James's breath hitched. Emma began to cry louder. Anna settled into the rocking chair to feed her, watching James from the corner of her eye. He stood transfixed, holding Sarah like she might shatter. The baby grabbed his finger. That iron newborn grip. Tears tracked down James's face, falling onto Sarah's blanket. He didn't wipe them away. I'm sorry, he whispered. I'm so sorry I've been afraid of you. Anna said nothing, just kept rocking Emma. Sometimes words cheapened the moment. James sank into the other chair, still holding Sarah. Dawn light streamed through the window, washing over them both. He cried quietly while the baby watched his face, curious and trusting. Outside, birds began their morning songs. A rooster crowed from the neighbor's yard. The town was waking. Life insisted on continuing, pulling them forward whether they were ready or not. When Sarah finished eating, James handed her carefully to Anna. His eyes were red but clearer somehow. Thank you, he said. For what? For not letting me hide forever. Anna placed Sarah in her crate, then Emma beside her. The twins curled toward each other, already drifting to sleep. We should rest, Anna said. It's been a long night. Anna James stood in the doorway. I'm glad you're here. I needed to say that. I'm glad too. And she meant it. He nodded and withdrew. Anna heard him climb the stairs to his own bedroom instead of retreating to the study. Small progress, but progress nonetheless. She lay down fully clothed, too tired to change. The sun rose higher, chasing shadows from the corners. Spring was coming. She could feel it in the warming air, the changing light. Maybe hope was coming too. Spring arrived in earnest, transforming the prairie from brown to green. The twins grew rapidly, becoming more responsive each day. Emma laughed at James's pocket watch. Sarah smiled when he entered the room. Anna watched him thaw toward the children with quiet satisfaction. He still maintained careful distance, but the fear had lessened. He was trying. That mattered. One evening in late April, Anna gathered her courage. The twins were outgrowing their wooden crates, getting too active. They needed proper beds. "James," she said over dinner, "I was thinking about the children's sleeping arrangements." They seem comfortable enough." He cut his beef carefully. "For now. But they're getting bigger. They need more space." Anna paused. The room at the end of the hall would make a perfect nursery. Good light. Plenty of room for proper cribs. James's fork stopped halfway to his mouth. "No. It's the most practical." I said no. His voice went cold. Flat. "That room stays closed. James, it's been nearly 2 years. Surely. You don't understand." He stood abruptly, chair scraping. "That room is Sarah's. My daughter's. It stays exactly as it is. But your daughter isn't coming back. These children are here now. And they need to make do with what they have." James's face had gone white. "This discussion is finished." He strode to his study and shut the door hard. Not quite a slam, but close. Anna sat alone at the table, hands trembling. She'd pushed too hard, moved too fast. The fragile progress between them shattered like creek ice. The next morning, James left early for house calls and didn't return until dark. He took his dinner in the study. The pattern repeated the following day. And the next. The warmth that had been building between them vanished. James became formally polite. Nothing more. He stopped acknowledging the twins when he passed their room. "They curried da." Emma reached for him one evening, and he walked by without looking. Anna found the baby crying, small arms still outstretched toward the empty doorway. The rejection cut deeper than her own. "I'm sorry, sweetheart," she whispered, holding Emma close. "I'm sorry." At the general store, Anna felt the town's judgment sharpen. Pritchard stood near the dry goods, speaking loudly enough to be overheard. Rushed him into marriage. She did. Now she's trying to erase his first wife, moving her things out like the poor woman never existed. "That's not true," Anna said quietly. Pritchard turned, feigning surprise. "Mrs. Harrison? I didn't see you there. Though I suppose we should call you Mrs. Harrison II. Shouldn't we? The replacement wife?" Heat flooded Anna's cheeks. Other customers had stopped to watch. The store owner found sudden interest in his inventory book. "My personal business is my own, Mr. Pritchard." "Is it when you trap a grieving man into caring for another man's children? When you manipulate him into a marriage?" Pritchard smiled coldly. "The whole town knows what you are." Anna set her basket on the counter with shaking hands. "I'll take these items." "Please." The store owner totaled her purchases without meeting her eyes. Anna paid and left, aware of whispers following her out. At home. The twins sensed her distress and grew fussy. James was gone again, riding to some distant farm. The house felt cavernous and cold despite the spring warmth outside. And that night, Anna sat in the darkened kitchen, long after putting the twins to bed. She'd come west seeking possibility and found only different kinds of loneliness. She couldn't stay in a home where her children were ignored, where she was resented. Tomorrow she would inquire about the eastbound train schedule. Regarde pas. She had a little money saved from managing the practice. It wasn't much, but it might get them somewhere. Anywhere but here. The decision should have brought relief. Instead, it felt like another kind of failure. Upstairs. Emma began to cry. Anna climbed the stairs wearily. lifted the baby, and sank into the rocking chair. Through the window, she could see lights in neighboring houses, real families, with real belonging. She and the twins would never have that here. Anna woke before dawn and began packing. She moved quietly, folding the twins' clothes, gathering their few belongings. The eastbound train left at noon. She could be on it. Putting this mistake behind her, she was wrapping Emma's blanket when she heard footsteps on the stairs. James appeared in the doorway, saw the half-packed bag, and went pale. "You're leaving." "I have to." Anna didn't look at him. "This isn't working." The children deserve better than a home where they're unwelcome. Anna, you won't even look at them anymore. "James, Emma cried for you last night. She doesn't understand why you've disappeared." Anna's voice broke. "I won't raise my daughters in a house full of locked doors and cold silence." "I'm trying." "You don't know how hard—" "I do know." Anna finally met his eyes. "I know exactly how hard it is to love again after loss. But hiding from life doesn't honor Sarah's memory. It wastes the life she'd want you to live. You didn't know her. You can't possibly— Then tell me about her. Show me who she was instead of keeping her locked away like a shameful secret." Anna's hands clenched. "You're not preserving her memory. James, you're building a tomb. And you're burying yourself inside it." James flinched as if struck. If I open that door, if I let them in, and something happens to them, something could happen regardless. Life makes no guarantees." Anna softened slightly. "But choosing fear over love doesn't protect anyone. It just makes you alone." They stood in tense silence. Downstairs, someone knocked firmly on the front door. "I'll get it," James muttered. Descending the stairs, Anna heard the door open, heard Mrs. Chen's voice. Then quiet conversation drifted up. She couldn't make out words, just tones, Mrs. Chen's gentle insistence, James's resistance. 10 minutes later, silence fell. Anna finished packing, then sat on the bed with her head in her hands. The twins slept peacefully, unaware their world was shifting again. When she went downstairs hours later, James wasn't in his study. She found him sitting on the floor outside the locked room at the hall's end. "James." He didn't answer. His eyes were red-rimmed, face drawn. He'd been there a while. Anna sat beside him, back against the wall. What did Mrs. Chen say? That Sarah spoke to her before she died, while I was washing up after He swallowed hard. Sarah knew she wasn't going to make it. She told Mrs. Chen to give me a message. What message? To live. To find joy again. James's voice cracked. She said to tell me she released me. That I should love again without guilt. Tears tracked down his face. I never knew. I was so destroyed afterward. Mrs. Chen couldn't get through to me. She's been carrying those words for 18 months, waiting for the right moment. Anna said nothing. Sometimes silence was the greatest gift. I've been so afraid, James whispered, if I love them, and lose them like I lost Sarah and our daughter. I can't survive that again. Anna, I can't. You don't know that you'd lose them, but you're definitely losing them now. Through choice. Anna touched his hand gently. They're beautiful. James. They're growing every day. Emma has your serious expression when she's thinking. Sarah makes this little sound in her sleep that's exactly like you clearing your throat before speaking. James looked at her, startled. They do. You'd notice if you let yourself look. He stared at the locked door for a long moment. Then, with shaking hands, he pulled a key from his pocket. Will you help me? His voice was barely audible. I don't think I can do this alone. Anna took the key and stood. She unlocked the door, but let James push it open. Light flooded the room. It faced east, catching the morning sun. Inside stood a beautiful cradle, hand-carved, a rocking chair, tiny clothes folded in a dresser, Sarah's things on the bedside table, her Bible, her brush, a locket. The room wasn't a shrine. It was a nursery, frozen in time, waiting for a baby who would never come. James stepped inside slowly, like entering sacred ground. He touched the cradle, setting it rocking gently. Tears fell freely now. She would have been beautiful, he said. Like her mother. I'm sure she would have been. Anna moved to the dresser, opening drawers. These clothes are exquisite. Did Sarah make them? Her mother helped. They spent months preparing. James picked up the Bible. Sarah marked her favorite verses. She was going to read them to our daughter every night. They spent the morning sorting through memories. Some items they set aside to donate tiny clothes another baby could use. Ya hai kaima. Others they kept the Bible, the locket. Some special pieces Sarah had made herself. The cradle. They agreed. Should go to the twins' room. Sarah would have wanted children to use it, as they worked. James talked about Sarah, her laugh, her stubbornness, the way she sang hymns while cooking. Anna listened, learning about the woman whose shadow she'd been living under. She sounds wonderful, Anna said finally. She was, James looked around the transformed room, no longer a shrine, just a room with memories. Thank you for pushing me to do this, for not letting me hide. We should probably talk about my packing. You're not leaving. James turned to her quickly. That depends. Are you going to be present for the twins? Actually see them. Not look through them. I want to try. Really try. He took a shaky breath. I'm terrified. Anna, but I'm more terrified of becoming the kind of man who lives in the past, while life passes him by. Anna held out her hand. Then let's try together. James took it. His grip was warm, solid, real. They carried the cradle down the hall to the twins' room. Emma and Sarah were waking, starting to fuss. James hesitated, then reached down and lifted Emma. Hello, little one, he said softly. I'm sorry I've been absent. That changes now. Emma grabbed his nose. James laughed. Really laughed for the first time since Anna had known him. Outside, spring birds sang in the budding trees. The locked door stood open, light spilling into the hallway. Winter was finally over. Sunday morning arrived warm and bright. In Todd stall, Anna dressed the twins in their best clothes while James shaved carefully, unusually attentive to his appearance. Nervous? Anna asked when he appeared in the kitchen. Terrified? He adjusted his collar, but some things need saying publicly. They walked to church as a family, James carrying Sarah. Anna with Emma. Neighbors watched with undisguised curiosity. The hasty marriage had been gossip fodder for weeks. Inside, the congregation settled into pews. Pritchard sat prominent in the third row, smirking. James led Anna to seats near the front. Merifarn terabobai ste. The service proceeded normally until Reverend Walsh invited community announcements. James stood, and Anna's heart jumped. "James!" she whispered. "Trust me," he murmured, then stepped into the aisle. "I have something to address," he said clearly. Then, "Many of you have heard rumors about my marriage to Anna. I'd like to speak to those directly." The church went silent, every eye fixed on James. "It's true that Anna and I married quickly, under unusual circumstances. She'd been rejected by another man. I was drowning in grief and neglect. We made a practical arrangement partnership, not romance." Pritchard's smile widened. James continued, "But practicality doesn't diminish value. Anna came to this town with nowhere to go, carrying twin babies, and faced public humiliation with more dignity than many of us show in comfort. She's transformed my medical practice from chaos to excellence. She's brought order to my household and life to my home." He looked directly at Anna. "More than that. She's taught me that love isn't betrayal of the past. It's honoring the past by choosing life in the present. These children, Emma and Sarah, are my daughters now. Not by blood, but by choice. And Anna is my wife, not from obligation, but from genuine love." Anna's eyes filled with tears. James turned back to the congregation. "If anyone has judgment to offer, direct it at me for taking so long to recognize the blessing God provided. If anyone has gossip to spread, make it about how fortunate I am. Because I am fortunate. Blessed beyond measure." He sat down beside Anna and took her hand. The church remained silent for 3 heartbeats. Then Mrs. Chen began to clap. Her husband joined. Then the Pattersons, remembering the difficult birth. Soon half the congregation was applauding. Pritchard stood abruptly and stalked out. A handful followed him, but most stayed, smiling. After the service, people crowded around them. Mrs. Patterson hugged Anna, thanking her again for helping with the birth. Others offered congratulations, welcome, acceptance. Walking home, James was quiet. Anna glanced at him curiously. "Regret your speech?" "No." He smiled slightly. Just thinking about how terrified I was to say those things out loud. You hit it well. Years of medical training. Never let the patient see you panic." He shifted Sarah to his other arm. "Anna, I meant what I said in there. About love, not obligation." Anna's heart stuttered. "Right, James. I know we agreed to partnership. But these past months, watching you work, seeing you with the children, learning who you are, He stopped walking, turned to face her. "I've fallen in love with you. Truly. And if you feel even a fraction of that, I'd like to court you properly. Start again. But this time without walls between us." "Oddmala." Emma babbled happily in Anna's arms. Grabbing at her mother's hat, Anna looked at James, really looked. Saw the man who'd proposed marriage to a stranger out of kindness, who'd fought through grief to open his heart again, who now stood vulnerable and hopeful, asking for a chance at real love. "I'd like that," she said softly. "Very much." James's face lit up. He leaned forward slowly, giving her time to retreat. She didn't. Their first real kiss was gentle, chaste, perfect. Emma squealed between them. Sarah made a gurgling sound of protest at being squished. They broke apart, laughing. "Our daughters are very demanding." James said, "Our daughters." Anna echoed, loving the sound. "Yes, they are. They continued home, hands linked around the babies between them. Neighbors waved from porches. The spring sun warmed their shoulders. At the house, James suggested a picnic lunch in the back garden. He spread a blanket while Anna prepared food. The twins crawled on the grass, discovering dandelions and grass blades with infant wonder. I was thinking, James said, biting into a sandwich. We should take a photograph. The four of us. For the parlor. A family portrait. Exactly. He watched the twins play. I want to remember this. All of it. The beginning of our real life together. Anna leaned against his shoulder. I love you. James Harrison. I wasn't sure I could love again after Thomas. But I do. Ari, yo anangfaj. He must have been remarkable to deserve you. He was. And so was Sarah. Eik. Anna picked a dandelion, twirling it. I think they'd both be glad we found each other, that their children have both fathers, both mothers, in memory and in presence. James kissed her forehead. I think so too. The afternoon passed in quiet contentment. The twins napped on the blanket. James and Anna talked about everything, their childhoods, their dreams, their fears, building foundation they should have built months ago. As the sun lowered, they gathered the sleeping babies and returned inside. The house no longer felt like a collection of locked rooms and careful distance. It felt like home. 6 months later, autumn painted the prairie gold and crimson. The medical practice thrived with Anna's steady management and James's skilled care. Their reputation had spread to neighboring towns. The twins celebrated their first birthday with a small gathering. Pretty not. Emma took her first wobbly steps toward James, arms outstretched. He caught her, swinging her up with joy. Sarah followed moments later, determined not to be outdone, walking straight to Anna. Our girls are growing up, James said that evening, watching them sleep in the beautiful nursery that had once been a locked shrine. Too quickly. Anna adjusted Sarah's blanket. I can hardly remember them as newborns. I can. James touched the cradle Sarah had made, now used by both twins. I remember the first time I held them, how terrified I was of loving them, of losing them, and now. Now I understand that love is always a risk. But it's a risk worth taking. He drew Anna into his arms. Every single time. They went downstairs to the kitchen. Anna had left bread dough rising. She needed to shape it for tomorrow. James made coffee while she worked. A comfortable domestic rhythm they'd perfected. Margaret Patterson sent word. Anna said, kneading dough. She's expecting again. Wants to know if I'll assist you with the birth. Will you, if you want me there? Always. James poured 2 cups of coffee. You're the best assistant I've ever had. And I've had several. Flatterer. Truth teller. He set her cup beside her. Anna, I've been thinking about something that's usually dangerous. He smiled. Perhaps, but hear me out. I'd like to adopt the twins legally. Make them Harrisons in every sense. Anna's hand stilled in the dough. James. They have Thomas's name still. That's right and good, he was their father. But I'd like them to have mine as well. Emma Thomas Harrison and Sarah Thomas Harrison. Carrying both fathers forward. Tears blurred Anna's vision. He would have loved that. And loved you for suggesting it. Then we'll speak to the judge next week. Ideristee, Naistri. Anna abandoned the dough and hugged him. Flour-dusted hands and all. James held her close. breathing in the scent of yeast and home. Later, after the bread was shaped and rising, Anna pulled out Thomas's letters from Missouri. She'd saved everyone, kept them in a box on her dresser. I'd like the girls to have these, she said, showing James, when they're old enough, so they know who he was. That's beautiful. James touched the letters gently. I have Sarah's Bible marked with verses for our daughter. Maybe the twins could have that too. From both mothers? Both mothers. Anna repeated. I like that. They sat together at the kitchen table, Anna reading passages from Thomas's letters, James sharing stories about Sarah, weaving their pasts into their present, creating a family history rich with love and loss and continuation. Upstairs, Emma stirred and cried out. James went to soothe her while Anna checked on Sarah. The house filled with the small sounds of family footsteps, murmurs, babies settling back to sleep. Anna paused in the nursery doorway, watching James rock Emma. His face held such tenderness, such peace. I used to think healing meant forgetting, he said quietly, noticing Anna, that moving forward meant leaving the past behind. I'd say. And now I know healing means growing around the wound. Sarah will always be part of me. Thomas will always be part of you. But there's room for us too. Room for all of it. Anna moved to his side. The girls are so lucky. 2 fathers who loved them. 2 mothers who loved them. Not everyone gets that kind of richness. We're the lucky ones, James corrected. We found each other. Found this. He gestured around the room, the nursery that had been a shrine, now filled with life and laughter. The house that had been silent, now ringing with baby sounds and conversation and hope. That Sunday, they had their family photograph taken. The 4 of them posed in the parlor, James and Anna seated, the twins between them in matching dresses. The photographer's flash powder popped. The moment was captured. When the photograph arrived a week later, Anna placed it on the mantel. Beside it, she set a small picture of Thomas, and James added one of Sarah. Past and present. Side by side. There, James said, stepping back. Complete. That evening, Anna rocked the twins while James worked on patient notes. Through the window, she could see their neighbors, the Chens, walking after dinner. The Pattersons' children playing in the yard, normal life continuing its gentle rhythm. Emma yawned widely, fighting sleep. Sarah had already surrendered, curled against Anna's shoulder. Time for bed, my loves. Anna whispered. James appeared in the doorway. Let me take one. He lifted Sarah carefully, settling her in the cradle. Anna placed Emma beside her sister. The twins instinctively curled toward each other, just as they had in the womb. James and Anna stood watching them, arms around each other's waists. Do you remember the depot? Anna asked quietly. When you first approached me. Every detail. You looked so proud despite everything. So strong. I was terrified, alone in a strange town. Nowhere to go. 2 babies depending on me. And now I'm home. Anna leaned her head on his shoulder. With you. With them. With all of us together. Finally home. James kissed her hair. Sarah used to say that family isn't just who you're born to. It's who you choose to love, and who chooses to love you back. She was wise. She would have liked you very much. They turned down the lamp and moved to the doorway. In the dimness, The twins breathed softly, peacefully. The cradle Sarah had made rocked slightly from some invisible breeze. Ya time. Downstairs, James made tea while Anna tidied the kitchen. They sat together by the fire, talking quietly about tomorrow's patients, the garden plans for spring, the twins' growing vocabularies, ordinary conversation, ordinary life. But ordinary had become extraordinary through choosing love after loss, through building family from broken pieces, through having courage to try again. Thank you, James said suddenly. For what? For getting off that train, for accepting my proposal, for pushing me to open locked doors. He took her hand. For teaching me that second chances don't betray first loves. They honor them. Anna squeezed his fingers. We taught each other that. Outside. The autumn wind rustled through changing leaves. Inside. The fire crackled warmly. Upstairs. Their daughters slept. The house they'd built together, not from romance, but from honest need. Not from passion, but from shared grief, had become something neither had imagined possible. A home. A family. A future. Second chances. They'd learned. Often came in unexpected forms. Choosing love again after loss took courage. Ipigi sound ahaikai. But when broken people built together, they created something beautiful from shared grief. Something whole. Something worth all the risk. Something like this.